Happy New Year, my super fam, and welcome to 2023. I hope that this year will bring you a lot of good luck and get you a lot of the 5-star character that you have always wanted, because many of the character that you have been waiting for a long time will make their appearance this year. Now, to start off our lovely new year, today we'll be having a video looking into the top 5 best character up to date of Genshin Impact. It's gonna be a pretty fun and exciting video with the aim of providing you a better look into the current meta, as well as help you plan out if you haven't already have the characters that will be discussed in this video. So with that out of the way, let's just dive into the video. First off, a quick disclaimer guys, is that this top 5 list is going to be down to my personal opinion from all of my experience from playing and making content about Genshin Impact. And also guys, for the sake of this video, there will be a few characters that will be taken out of consideration, because when talking about top characters, I'm sure that you guys can already guess some of these characters, in that we will be taking out the Archons, which are Venti, Zhongli, Nahida, and Raiden Shogun. Because the thing is, with Genshin Impact, Archon characters are always some of the best character in the game. So if we were to not take out these characters, I'm sure at least 3 of the characters will already make it to the list here, and so that would beat the point of having today's video, and most of you guys can already guess the character too. And also our top 3 national characters, which are Bennett, Xiangling, and Xingqiu, will not be on the list as well, because they're just already very common meta character that you guys can also guess from the list. And so the characters that will next be discussed are going to be some of the characters that are next in line. However, do know that these characters aren't in any way, I would say, less powerful than the character that we have taken out here, because their performance are always almost top tier in any way, which is why they make it into my top 5 list of Genshin Impact character up to date. And so from here, let's head into our top 5 list. On number 5, we have our girl Hu Tao from Wangshan Funeral Parlor Fleeway. Yes, she is still pretty much a very powerful character ever since the start of her release, which is almost 2 years now. The moment she is released, she's already considered to be the top character of Leeway, or the very best character of the current patch. And until now, she is still gonna be on our list, and also considered to be the best character of the Pyro element. Also, fun fact guys, if I'm not mistaken, do you guys actually realize that the whole of 2022 did not feature any Pyro characters? Because it actually surprised me when I just look back now. The newest Pyro character was Thoma, who was on Hu Tao's last rerun banner, and that was back in November of 2021. So hopefully we do get some new Pyro characters soon. Now back to the topic of Hu Tao. If you have her on your team, you know how insane this character can dish out damage, especially when you come into her gameplay of charge attack. She's still, if not the only character that can dish out the highest single targeted charge attack in the game right now, and can almost instantly take out your enemies in one charge attack. With larger boss enemies, if you are invested, she can take out larger boss enemy in like 2 or 3 charge attack, which is pretty insane. However, she isn't locked into a single target gameplay as well, because her attack combos do have access to AoE, which makes her a lot more versatile in terms of being a main DPS. Having Hu Tao on your team just makes your life a lot easier. Plus, she is a very fun character to play with. I would say pretty much a unique attack animation at this point, because I don't know, I just feel that she has a different sense and style of gameplay when it comes to how you use her. Because first of all, you can use her charge attack, but then once in a while, if you're kind of tired with her charge attack, you can actually do her normal combo, which also deals a ton of damage. Plus it feels good and it looks good as well. So there is a lot of variety of gameplay towards how you play Hu Tao. The interesting thing about Hu Tao too is how you build her team comp, because generally speaking, she doesn't always use the main support character that every other character needs, like like, you know, Kokomi, Bennett, even Kazuha isn't really required on Hu Tao's team, because what she actually needs are characters like Xingqiu or Zhongli on her team, generally speaking, because Hu Tao wants to keep her HP at below 50%, and with the help of Xingqiu and Zhongli, she's gonna be able to do that pretty well while having a little bit of healing as well, even when Hu Tao herself can heal automatically from her burst. Also, speaking of her burst, she has an incredibly powerful burst, especially when it comes to AoE situation. Any common enemies that is within the AoE of her burst when she's below 50% is almost guaranteed to die. For those of you who loves to invest more into character constellation, she also has one of the best constellation in the game as well, with every single one of her constellation give her an insane boost to her damage, especially at C1, which makes her constellation one of the best character to invest in. So that's something you want to keep in mind when looking into character constellation. Something to note further as well is that Hu Tao is heavily buffed after patch 3.0, because that's when Hydro Resonance is changed into character having extra 25% HP, therefore helping Hu Tao building teams surrounding Hydro Resonance and making her a lot more powerful that way. Won't be discussed too much into Hu Tao team comp in this video, but we'll touch on that later on down this week. The only thing to take in consideration when you're using Hu Tao is the challenges of you learning about her gameplay, because in order for you to actually do the most of Hu Tao's damage, it requires you to play a lot into charge attack cancelling and stamina management if you don't have her C1, which makes her a little bit of tough choices for many of the players who are more geared towards an ease of gameplay, which is why she's on the number 5 of our list. Now moving on to number 4, we have Ayaka. Our lovely Ice Queen has to make her appearance on this list, because if you have been using Ayaka, she's an insanely amazing and scary character at times, because of how powerful and how fast she actually takes out your enemies when used in the right team, and even larger boss enemies will tend to vanish almost instantly when Ayaka is on the team, because she is just that good. So what makes Ayaka such a good character? First of all, she has access to the cryo element, which is still one of the best elements in the game, guys. That's why Hoyoverse probably didn't give cryo element a reaction towards Dendro, otherwise the community is just going to be sticking with cryo characters. The reason why cryo element is still such a good element at this point is, first of all, because you can still almost clear out the entire abyss when using a mono cryo characters. There is almost no abyss that has very good counter check toward cryo characters, at least until we have enemies such as the cryo abyss Lecter who have insanely high cryo shield. But for now, I'm pretty sure that you can just build any mono cryo team with good character build and you can take out a single half of the abyss, because that's exactly what I have been doing for a very long time in the abyss. Therefore, if cryo characters can beat the abyss that easily, they can take on pretty much other contents without having too much trouble. But that's just about cryo elements. For Ayaka herself, she is not only a very good on-field DPS if you want to use her, because of her access to cryo infusion 100% of the time. Therefore, if you want to use her, especially in melt team, she is very good. However, many of us actually use Ayaka as a sub DPS character where she is more geared toward a burst support, in that you're just there to have Ayaka on field to cast her burst and then switch out onto other character and do your thing. The reason why many of us focus on building her burst is that it just have an insanely scary high scaling that does a 20 tick of damage. Therefore, if you have your enemies locked in place, they are almost guaranteed to not survive. And so Ayaka gameplays is very easy. You just basically invest into her energy recharge build with the emblem fate set, and then just switch into her to cast her burst, where she will basically do the work for you. As easy as it may sound, however, Ayaka does require you to run in mostly a specific team, because her burst heavily requires your enemies to be stuck in place and not move around, since your burst can actually miss, and if Ayaka misses is her burst is basically as not having Ayaka on the team. However, when up against larger bosses enemy where you can't freeze, Ayaka is more free toward her team build and then just focus mostly on front loading all of her damage. But overall, a very powerful character to have on your account and very fun to play as well, not to mention she has her ice dash, make the traverse in the world a lot easier to walk on water and help you run a little bit faster as long as you're not stuck in a corner somewhere down at the end of the earth. On number 3, we have Yelan, our version 2.0 of Xingqiu, or something that many of the players would say. Now, she's not entirely the same as Xingqiu, however her burst is pretty much similar to him. Yelan at this point in time is considered to be the best sub DPS character, if you're taking out the Archon characters of course, because of how high of a damage she's actually helping your team when she's off field with her burst activated. Her gameplay is pretty much similar towards Xingqiu, therefore you're basically having 2 copies of 2 of the best sub DPS character in the game. But that's not to say that having Yelan on your account then Xingqiu is not as important anymore, since these characters can actually be used on the same team and they make an incredible team out of it, especially when it comes to Hydra Resonance. When coming toward choosing a sub DPS character on your team, most of the time Yelan is going to be on the top of your choices. She's very easy to play, very easy to build because she have access to very good weapon options. Most of the time you're just going to be using weapons such as the Favonius bow or the sack bow just to get her burst up. She also have access to attack buffing your whole team, which is what makes her a more valuable character. The only thing with Yelan's sub DPS damage, as you know, is going to be more towards single targeted instead of AoE. So when having her on the team, most of the time you're just going to be focusing on taking out one enemies to the next. But overall, she's a very versatile character, extremely easy character for you to have around on your team, and she will take out your enemies without you even realizing it. Moving on to our number 2 of the list. Can you guys guess who it is? The number 2 titles goes to Kokomi, our princess of Watatsumi Island. Now, I don't know if you guys are actually surprised or not, but Kokomi deserves a spot on this list of how good of a support character Kokomi actually is. In 99% of the cases, guys, if I don't have Bennett on the team, then it's gonna be Kokomi who have a spot on my team. And especially when it comes to Dendro reaction, guys, most of the time now, guys, we're more geared toward Hyper Bloom and then Bloom team, and then without a Dendro healer at this point in time, Kokomi is almost a must-have character on these kind of teams. She's just such an incredible character that fills in so many roles at the same time that it is really hard to find other character that can do as good as her at this point in time. She has access to very good healing that keeps your team alive in all situations, very wide range of Hydro application with her jellyfish. Furthermore, if you use her correctly, her jellyfish is going to be staying on the field for 100% of the duration, making her very valuable in many teams such as freeze teams as well. Not to mention her ability to use Thrilling Tales of Dragon that provides your main DPS an extra 50% attack bonus, just goes to show how valuable of a character she is on your team. Having Kokomi on your team and you can just focus everything onto your sub DPS and main DPS character to deal the most of damage possible, because Kokomi requires almost no field time, just switching to her, setting up her jellyfish, and then she's out of the field. With Kokomi, she can also becomes a DPS if you want her to. Even though it's not very optimal and she doesn't deal too high of a damage, she does have access to, for example, her main BIS option that allows her to be a very good DPS also. And so apart from her low damage output from her jellyfish most of the time, so she's just mostly being there to support your team, she's just pretty much good at everything else when it comes to support. And since you really only want one support on your team, Kokomi is just there to fill in everything that you need. At this point in time, the only way I can see Kokomi being nerfed is when there's going to be an introduction of a very good Dendro healer. However, that Dendro healer has to be on par with everything that Kokomi can do in order to actually replace Kokomi, especially when it comes to Dendro reaction teams. So there's at least going to be a few more patches where Kokomi is going to be the dominant support character in almost every single team comp, at least until I would say, who knows, my guess is gonna be Baizu, for example. We don't know if Genshin Impact has actually forgotten him, but I'm sure he's gonna be coming pretty soon. Since he is the head of Liwei's pharmaceutical, he's most likely gonna be a Dendro DPS character. Which weapon, we don't know yet. Hopefully it's gonna be a catalyst as well, so that we can use Throwing Tails of Dragons along with him. But with Baizu being a healer character, it just makes a lot of sense. So we'll wait until there's gonna be a Dendro healer to see how the support meta is gonna go, but Kokomi is gonna be literally the best character right now. And then finally we move on to our number 1 character. Who is this character gonna be? And if you have guessed Kazuha, then you are correct. While he is one of the most obvious characters to get the number 1 spot right now, since Kazuha is Kazuha, guys. I don't know any other word that can describe him. He's just a very much insane character in every way possible, especially when it comes to sub DPS and supporting your team. Right now, Kazuha is by far the best character in terms of buffing your team to deal high damage, because as you know, Anemo element have access to 4-piece Viridescent that already resisted shredded your enemies, but also Kazuha has access to a very rare ability of increasing your team's elemental damage. Not many characters in the game have access to this ability, but something that Kazuha does better is that he can scale these skills according to his EM. So of course the cap of this is going to be a lot higher. In most meta teams there is going to be Kazuha. I don't see a reason why you don't want Kazuha on your team, because if you don't have him, it's just like taking out your damage for free. Not to mention he does very good damage, guys, when it comes to his E skill and his burst, even when you're investing full EM build onto Kazuha so that you can have the most elemental damage bonus for your team. I've seen that many players saying that Kazuha can't be a DPS. I would say you otherwise, because if you build him as a DPS, even when he is not C6 yet, he will still do a ton of damage with his E skill and burst. And considering his E skills and his burst doesn't have very long of a cooldown, DPS Kazuha under C6 is very fun to play. Out of all of the characters alongside with the Archons, Kazuha is some of the characters that I would say like a must have on your account. Really guys, I am not overrating this character, he's just that good, because the amount of buff that he gets to your team, the crowd control that he helps your team is really insane as well, and the ease of gameplay that he gives is just really good. Your life is going to be a lot easier with Kazuha on the team. It's been a while since his last banner of rerun, so hopefully we do have him back soon so that any of you that haven't got Kazuha can get a chance to have him. He is a character that is going to be on pretty much any of the team apart from Mono Dendro and Mono Geo at this point, because he does not work with purely Dendro and Geo. Other than that, as long as you have other elements, you will be able to have Kazuha and he will help your team do a ton of damage. So these top characters, I have been using them for a long time. I use them mostly in every single Abyss that I play, and still up to this date they give me the wow factor in the combat, especially when it comes to the Abyss, in terms of how much damage they are actually able to do, especially when it comes to like free to play and C0. This is going to be my list of top 5 characters at the start of 2023. I know that there are a lot of other good characters out there as well, so let me know down in the comment section guys what you guys choose to be your top 5 character of the current Genshin Impact meta. I hope that this video have been very enjoyable to you. Now if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe, as I will be posting my top 5 team comp next in the video after this. If you're interested in Genshin content, do check out my other videos, as I have a lot of them and I know that this will be helpful to you. Once again guys, happy new year 2023, and with that I will catch you on my next video.